Hi everyone, welcome back again. Today I'm going to share with you an interesting topic. This time the topic is about scoring rubrics and evaluation. Sorry. Okay, first let's see what a scoring rubric is. We can consider a scoring rubric as a tool or a guide that represents the possible expected performance on our students. We can use a scoring rubric to assess the student works in a consistent way. Additionally, scoring rubrics allow us to uh, measure the students' performance in an objective way. In other words, in an impartial way. Additionally, scoring rubric allow us to monitor the students' learning process. Okay, usually a scoring rubric has two parts. Okay, first have the dimensions, and here we have the scales. For the dimensions, we can consider the assessment criteria that we want to use according to or depending on the assessment activity. For example, we can consider, for example, let's suppose that we want to assess an speaking activity. For example, we can consider for the dimension number one, let's suppose, what about content? What about for dimension two, let's suppose the organizational ideas, and for dimension number three, fluency. And for the scales, we have different scales according to the performance of our students for each one of the dimensions. We have one, two, and three scales. Or maybe we can consider it a poor scale, a moderate scale, and excellent scale. Of course, each scale has its corresponding score. So, a question, why do we use scoring rubrics when speaking? The answer is very simple. Um, we use scoring rubrics to assess the student's performance in speaking or writing because it can guide the student as to the quality about, okay? Also, it explains the students the requirements regarding an activity or task, okay? We use to assess the speaking or writing um, skills tells the students what they need to complete a task with success, and additionally, um, this allows us as a teachers to give feedback about the students' performance. Okay, usually we have two kinds of rubrics. We have first place the holistic rubric. We can consider the holistic rubric as an overall student's performance. Okay, is in other words is an holistic rubric is more general. Usually use a single score and of course a single scale, and we consider a holistic rubric as an overall judgment about the student's work. Okay, here we have an example of an holistic rubric for a research paper. As you can see, we have the score assigned in this column, and we have the criteria. In this kind of holistic rubric, the criteria is written, in long sentences or maybe in a paragraph way. Okay. Okay. We have another kind of rubric. We have the analytic rubric. Okay. We can consider an analytic rubric as a list of specific criteria. Okay. Each one with its corresponding level of performance. As I said before, for example, if we want to assess in a speaking test, for example, we have maybe the content. Okay, the content is the criteria, and which its corresponding level of performance. For example, we can consider it a poor level, a moderate level, or an excellent uh, level of performance. Also, in analytic rubric, the criteria is scored individually. We can assign a individual score for each criteria. Analytic rubrics also allow us to give descriptive feedback about the student's performance. And finally, we can use an analytic rubric to assess the student progress based on multiple criteria. The number of criteria can be considered according to the task or maybe about the criteria of the teacher. Okay, here we have an example of an analytic rubric. As I mentioned before, this is, for example, we have a key, here we have the dimensions, we have 3 dimensions, or we have the 3 criteria about, in this case, this is an analytic rubric for a writing essay, okay? We have about the clarity, the organization, and the mechanics. Of course, each criteria with its corresponding scale, and of course with its corresponding score or the number of points for each scale. Okay, this is just an example. Uh, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. Goodbye.